today I have the blessing of talking to Peyton. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Peyton is a musician, author, and relationship coach. So we're going to be blessed today with many things. Now,
Oh,
your music, I do want to start off with your music because I do want to get started with your music because I just want to praise you on your music. It is beautiful.
oh,
Scars is a really good one. I love that beat. And what was the other one? Is it beautiful?
oh, a
I like
beautiful
Scars
world.
better. Yes, I like Scars better, which is on
Mm-hmm.
repeat, which is why I know that so well. But then I needed to move on. So you know when you don't want to like annoy people with a song, so I needed to move on. So I moved on to A Beautiful World. But yeah, anyways, check her out on Spotify with her music.
Oh, thank you. Bless you.
But thanks. But today wasn't the music that I want to talk about. We can talk about music, but you are a relationship coach, and this is the season for relationships. It's funny because
Mm.
like summertime is like single season because you're at the beach. Hey, it's warm. Hey, let's go out. Woo.
Yeah, right.
But the holidays is cozy time, and
Mm.
and then also the end of the year, New Year's coming up. So, it's a lot of reflection. It's a time for reflection when it comes to our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So, first thing is first, how do you help us single ladies as far as navigating with relationships?
Absolutely. Yeah. As a relationship coach, my goal is to help single women, particularly single Christian women, feel whole and content
Mm,
and joyful and fulfilled in their singleness even before they get into a relationship.
mm,
So that's my goal is I try to help women get to a place of wholeness and abundance in who
mm,
they are and who God created them to be, so that if and when it's in God's will for a man to come into their lives, that they'll be ready, and it's not going to be toxic, it's not going to be addictive, it's not going to be codependent, any of that stuff, because they'll be so centered and grounded in themselves and God
mm.
that it'll be just two whole people coming together and being yoked together as God intended. So that's basically what I do.
Mm. I you had there's a couple of words that really came out, which was abundance, and there was another one that came to my mind in which you said
Mm.
because um, in the Christian religion, primarily the goal is to find a partner, to find a husband, to be a
Right.
wife,
Hmm.
and
There's definitely that pressure in the churches.
right. Let's talk about that. I
It's
remember,
true.
I remember I scared my mom. I remember my parents have been together for over 30 years. And
Wow.
I remember I told my mom and I scared her and I said, if you and dad get a divorce, I will never get married. And I think it scared her because seeing them, I wouldn't, if
Mm.
they ever got a divorce, I wouldn't know what a relationship would be or how it should
Mm.
move.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. No, I
So
get that.
when you're describing the words of abundance and wholeness and all those adjectives, how does one get to that point?
Yeah, so it starts first with awareness, being
Mm,
aware of who you are and who God created you to be, and also just being honest with yourself and God about where you are in your singleness journey. Because I think there's a lot of women, I was there, before I got married. I was single for, goodness, a whole stretch of like 5 years. And so that journey, I had to learn to grieve where I was and to accept it and have those honest, raw prayers with God. Because for me, singleness felt like a waiting room, as I'm sure many women feel that way too. Just like they're just kind of waiting. How I described it in one interview, and I thought it was very relatable to myself, especially, is it's like when you have a litter of puppies in a box, and you're one of those puppies, and you see all these other puppies get picked, and you're just waiting for your turn to be adopted. And so for me, that's how it was being single for a long time. And it wasn't until I got to a place of surrender and peace and just trust in where God had me and really learned to bloom where I was planted that I was able to move to the next step and move forward and find someone who is now my husband. It was only until God really refined me in that time of singleness that I was able to be ready, even just mentally, emotionally, spiritually ready for a relationship. Um, because it can feel, at least from what I've seen and what I've experienced in our churches and in our society, we elevate relationships to the max, almost to the point of idolatry, pretty much idolatry. We're like idolizing relationships, and we
Right.
romanticize it so much and blow it so far out of proportion, you know, and not to say that relationships aren't great. They are, they have their place and they're wonderful in the way God designed them. But the reality is they have their cross to bear as well. They have their hardships, they have their challenges. It's not all rainbows and roses, as people like to think about relationships, about dating, about engagement, about marriage. And I want to break that disillusionment as much as I'm able to for single women, because I wish I had someone that really sat down with me and was like, this is what marriage is really like,
Yeah.
or this is what dating is really like, or this is what that whole process of getting married, the whole wedding planning is really like. It's a headache. It's a lot. Goodness me, it was stressful. But like I was saying, it has its place, and I think God created marriage to be such a beautiful thing, where two people come together and they are refined by one another. God uses that marriage to make them holy and more like Jesus. And so I truly believe that marriage is such a gift, and it's such a foreshadow of what's to come with our union with God. It's beautiful, but I think in the world, in our society, we like worship it almost, and like we make it this like, I don't know, it's like this ecstasy, this rapture, this like almost like a drug like effect that it has on people.
Yeah.
And so anyway, like I was saying.
No, continue. Yeah, don't need to stop. Continue. I know. I mean, there are some adjectives that you're like idolatry and when you think about it, we are. I mean, you don't have to go far. I mean, Disney does a great job at that in the very beginning with with
Oh, absolutely.
Cinderella, with Princess and the Frog. So,
Hmm.
Disney does a great job in creating this halo effect around
Hmm.
being in a relationship, being chosen, especially the right one.
Oh, yes.
Like
Oh
he just
gosh.
comes down.
Yeah, and there's angels singing and doves flying everywhere.
No
It's
need to
just
search.
magical.
No need to search. You just need to stand right here by these beautiful trees or whatever, and he's just gonna arrive.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness.
What's the point of dating? He's going to ascend.
There he is.
There he is. We're done. So when it comes
Oh my
to,
gosh.
um, yeah, there he is. He's ascended. When it comes to, because as you said, going back to preparing ourselves to um,
Mhm.
just knowing who we are, um, especially within a relationship with Christ. I'm jumping to the next step, which is the dating. Because I mean, I wish, he just arrived, like in Cinderella, or he never really arrived,
Mm.
but we get the point. Or he could just be like an Amazon package. Great, order, come, open up the box,
Ta-da.
just put in the batteries, and then we're good to go.
Oh
Software
goodness. Oh
updates.
my goodness.
So when it comes with the next step in dating,
Mhm.
because there are great guys, but
Mhm.
they may not be great for you.
True. Very true. And I think what helped me when I was in my dating phase and just kind of I kept an open mind, and that's why I go back to just having that wholeness and groundedness in who you are and who God is with you, because ultimately God is your husband first. He is the lover of your soul first, and so um, with that, just have that image in mind, and not like you're looking for a completely like flawless human being, because that doesn't exist, right? But you do want to look for someone that is God fearing
Mm,
and just respects you and cares for you and cares for your faith
yeah.
even more so. Um, and I feel so lucky because my movement of churches, we have a dating website. And so I was able to just date within our movement. And, it's one of those things where you, I don't want to say this, you, you, you have an open mind and you just start with friendship first.
Mm,
You just decide to be a good friend to your brothers. And I think when you get to that place where it doesn't feel like this scarcity, like when you get to
mm,
this place about dating where it doesn't feel like you're coming from a place of lack,
mhm,
you're
mhm.
coming from a place of abundance, and like I'm good either way, kind
Yeah.
of like that. Like that's kind of when God blesses you with someone. As that's what I've noticed,
Yeah.
at least in my own journey.
Yeah. So let me take a step back. Your church had a website?
Uh huh.
What was it, like a mega church, or was it like, a denomination type?
We're non-denominational, but our movement has churches all over the world.
Wow.
Yeah,
I've never heard of that.
yeah.
Is it like Plenty of Fish or eHarmony type thing, or
It's
Tinder?
it's big. It's like not exact. Oh goodness, not exactly. Not exactly. Um, yeah. My group of churches is called the International Churches of Christ, and
Yeah.
so we have a dating website that people in the church created called Disciples Today Heart and Soul, I believe
Yeah.
it is. And so it's like our version of Christian Mingle, but it's like strictly the members of the ICOC.
Oh, wow. I never, I didn't know that. I learned something new. So, in order to gain access, you need to be a member of the church.
Yes.
Wow. That's neat. I didn't know that was, I didn't think that was a thing. Because I know, like,
Yeah.
because I know, like, there, what is it? I know Plenty of Fish was created as a Christian one, and then
Hmm.
what was
Christian
the other one?
mingle.
Like Christian Mingle was another one. Um,
Hmm.
that was a real popular one. But that's a nice resource for within a church, because another thing too that is popping in my mind, um, that is sadly not something that's with us today, is um, when my grandparents were coming up, you know, they knew each other because they knew each other through other contacts. They were in
Hmm.
a similar town, in a similar neighborhood, going to the same church. They didn't have to go far, in
Yeah.
order to find someone. And on top of that, um, they the reputation was already established, you know.
Right. Hmm.
So that was a nice safety, um,
Yeah.
to find somebody new.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It's crazy how far we've come, isn't it?
It is. It is. It is crazy how far we come, especially hearing their story, my grandparents' story and my parents' story. It was just like so and so knew so and so, and it was like,
That's amazing.
right. And then they met each other, and the rest is history. But
Right.
that's nice that a church website has that, because really one of the primary things I'm thinking about is religion, and if it's on your church website, that's something that's already established.
Right. And you don't have to second guess, like, convictions, who's like, what do you believe compared to what I believe about Christianity, or vice versa. Like, you just know, like, we're on the same, it's like all level.
It is. Yeah, because I mean, when it comes to not just dating, but this is just who you are as a person, and
Mm,
who you are within Christ. Because as you said, you need to first establish that relationship. God is your husband first.
right, right.
There are boundaries and there are beliefs that will be tested.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And yeah, the beautiful thing about, I think, dating in the kingdom is that it's not, how do I say this? It, like, at least for me, when I was dating my husband, it wasn't a private thing. Like, we didn't just hide our relationship and be like, oh, like, we're just going to be lovey-dovey over here. Like, no, we invited people in the church to help us and shape us and help us be ready for marriage. Like, we had those mentors and those those people that we could go to for advice, like, oh, we're struggling with this, like, how do we resolve this argument, how do we deal with this behavior, how do we overcome this. And it was almost like counseling before ever, like, getting engaged. It was almost like pre-engagement counseling, but like, it was so helpful for us, to be able to have that. We're so blessed to have that, in the kingdom, and just in the church abroad, just something, like it takes a village.
Right. It does. Now, now there's a counter argument, as far
Hmm.
as I don't want people in my business. Um,
Sure, sure, yeah.
so how is that being balanced?
Yeah, so I think, um it's up to the person, really, like, what you want to share and what you're comfortable sharing with other people. Um, but I look at it this way: I'd rather have as many people in my corner helping me with all my issues and with all his issues, than trying to figure it out on my own,
Yeah.
because it's like, I don't know everything. And there are people that are ahead of me in this relationship deal that know exactly like what's going on and how to deal with it, how to address, like they've been down that path. So why not tap into that resource? That's my thinking anyways.
Valid, valid. Because I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, dating. I mean, as you step one, strengthen your relationship with God, and then now you're adding a third person,
Mhm.
into the mix. So now, now you are adding this third person, as far as like learning each other, learning
Oh,
yourself
absolutely.
in this journey before, quite honestly, you make a promise.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, before you make a promise. Switching gears, um, with we kind of touched on it as far as slightly with my grandparents and how the way they maybe perhaps approached relationships.
Yeah.
What is different from what was to what is today, when it comes
Mm.
to us women, men, and how we approach relationships? What do you see that's different?
Yeah, I think our struggle in this day and age is that we're very lonely. Like we have
Mm,
all this social media, we have all this connection, but we're not really connected. And
mm,
I feel like back in the day, um, they didn't have the internet, and so they really hunkered down in where they were and and really deepened those relationships where they were. And I think
mm.
it's easy. I know it's easy for me to just have friendships around me that are not as deep or not as meaningful as the ones that I have like around the world,
Yeah, yeah,
and not that there's anything wrong with that. I just think it's just different.
yeah.
It's a different culture, it's a different society. And so I think for those of us that really seek that connection one on one or in person, there's a lot of people suffering as a result because
Mm,
we're so used to just interacting with a message or like just a brief phone call or email or even on Zoom or whatever software that we're using, and it's not as there's something about that in-person connection that it helps release oxytocin, it helps release dopamine, like all those good chemicals that make us feel good and connected to people.
yeah,
It's difficult to be able to produce those same chemicals just looking at a screen.
yeah, yeah,
It's different when you're able to touch someone or even just like oddly enough, just like smell them. Not like you're like all up in their face, like smelling them, but like, like just naturally you smell
yeah,
someone's scent and you're like, oh,
yeah,
wow, this person is a safe person.
yeah.
And their scent makes me feel safe,
Mm.
like we don't really have that anymore like we used to.
And how can we, what are ways to, or steps, or to bring some of it back?
Yeah. I think, and this is something I'm working on too. So, I think it just starts with, I think there's so many of us that just think like, oh, like I read this book. Let me go back a little bit. I read this book
Yeah.
called The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. And it was really helpful for me in just learning about adult friendships. Because what she breaks down in the book is that, like, when we're growing up in like public school or wherever we're growing up in community like that, there's a group of us kids that grow up and we go through the same steps together. And so that brings community, that brings oneness and friendship and that intimacy that so many people think that they'll carry into their adulthood. But adult friendships are so much different than child relationships because people move, people get married, people have kids, their parents get sick, and you lose touch, and then you're in a place and you don't recognize anybody, and it's not like you all go through the same stages together like you used to in public school. So it's just different, it's weird. But I think, and something she talks about in that book is just how to step out of that is just to realize that people a lot of times aren't coming to, like, I don't know, this might sound a little harsh, but like to save you from your loneliness. Like you have to take ownership of it and be like, okay, I am sitting alone on my couch and I've been doing this for the past year. I have no friends, like friends, what can I do? How can I take responsibility for my friendships and relationships that are around me and the people that are around me? How can I foster that relationship? And so I think it starts just by simply, again, like I was talking about with singleness, and just grieving that, having that awareness that, okay, I am sitting here. It's my choice to be isolated and alone. I can do something about this. I can control this and I can go out there and make some friends, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? Will you be my friend? It doesn't have to be awkward like that. You just start by like meeting people at your local coffee shop and just complimenting them on something, and then just being honest, like, hey, I've lived here for about a year. I don't know anybody. Like, how do you find friends in this area? How long have you lived here? And all this, like, that's how you build that rapport and that connection. You have to be the one to be like, okay, no one's gonna come and just knock on my door and be like, I want to be your friend. Like it's nice to think of. It's like movies, but it's not real. Most of us are very much hermits, and we don't really talk to other people unless we're spoken to.
Yeah.
And so we have to be the ones to step up and be like, okay, I'm going to take control of my relationships and do something about my loneliness. And so yeah.
Yeah. Well said. There's a very interesting point that I think is, I don't know if it's missed or people are too afraid to do, but you have to take the first step. Like somebody has to take that first step to say hello.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
and if you are in a space of wanting interaction, you have to be brave and take that first step. Um, I think of this quote, but I mean it's kind of harsh, but closed mouths can't be fed, like you got to do
True.
something
There
if you
you
want to
go.
receive something.
Absolutely.
I was trying to figure out
Absolutely.
something more gently, but
Like,
I just
you reap
couldn't.
what you sow,
Right.
kind of thing. And it's like if you're not reaping, you're not going to sow anything.
Right.
You got to put those seeds out there and spread your stuff
Yeah.
so that it can grow and become something, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. And then another point, because sometimes, now correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like part of this loneliness isn't,
Mm,
technology is a contributing factor, but
sure.
is it me, or is it a fear of rejection is also just running
Oh,
a little bit more rampant,
absolutely.
you know?
Absolutely. There's a lot of fear going on. And with that, I think they feed each other. The
Mm, okay.
loneliness feeds that like the fear of rejection is like, oh, I'm so scared, like what if they say no, like what if this closed door happens, and then we isolate to avoid that rejection, but then we're lonely.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So at some point you have to say, and I'm borrowing this from Mel Robbins, this is her theory, not mine, but you just got to say let them.
Mm.
Like, let them close the door, let them say no. Like, that's their prerogative. If they do that, like, that's on them. That's not on you. That doesn't take away your value, your intrinsic value as a human being made in
Mm.
the image of God, you know? And then once you say let them, then you say let me do what I can to just build friendships elsewhere, to keep searching, to keep reaping, to keep putting my efforts out there. Because eventually, it's like with anything, you put effort in, and sometimes you don't always get results right away,
Right.
and that's okay. That doesn't mean it's not working. That doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It just means that that's life. Life
Mm.
isn't always going to give you what you want right away. Sometimes it does, and it's awesome. Sometimes it's like you put something in and you get something out of it, exactly what you want, and you're like, yes. But other times it's like you got to work for it. You got to
Yeah.
work, and you got to build character and persevere and endure.
Yeah.
But all of that will produce a fruit in you that will last forever, you
Yeah.
know?
Well said. Well said. There was something else that I was thinking as you were talking about it. Um, Value was the word that you
Mhm.
used.
Yeah.
Um, we put too much stock in people evaluating our value, even
Oh,
even though
absolutely.
we full know well, like you have no authority to whether I go to heaven or not, but yet
Right.
we put so much stock in how people perceive us.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. I mean, I wanted to relate it some way back to Jesus, because when you look at Jesus, he he knew who he was. He was confident that he was the son of God and that he came down to redeem people. Like, he
Yes.
was so faithful and so obedient to his calling
Yes.
that nothing could deter him. Not even rejection, not beatings, not death, nothing. Nothing could deter him. And I feel it's a high calling, but I know God is wanting that for us too, to live in that freedom, to not be bound by what people think about us, or even our own condescending thoughts about ourselves, but
Yes.
really just tap into the love of God, and, like scripture says, be transformed by the renewing of our mind,
Mm.
and just know that we are so loved and so treasured by God, and that's all that matters, you
Yeah.
know?
Well said. Well said. I couldn't say it have said it any better.
Thank you.
Oh. um, as we, it's interesting, because in the beginning, I mentioned about the cycle,
Mhm.
holidays is for the coziness, for the reflection. I mean, Hallmark is ready to go.
Oh my goodness.
The
Oh
Hallmark channel's
man.
ready to go.
All year round. They are just they never turn off.
I remember when I don't watch Hallmark like that
Yeah, me
because the
neither.
cheesiness of it, like the
Yeah.
cheesiness of it just really like turns me off. But I remember when they did like Christmas in July, and I was just like,
Gosh.
oh,
Yeah, right. It's like I'm not ready for this. I'm just not ready for this. Yeah.
oh gosh, yeah, the Hallmark Channel, they're tapping into something um, very much needed in the community of women, because like the script is the same, as
Cookie
far
cutter.
as like they're in this reflection point in their lives. They're in a space that they don't want to be in. They're
Mhm.
doing things that they normally don't do, but oh my gosh, this dashing looking guy. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
the acting is just a whole other level. I feel like there
Mm.
needs to be a paper, a study written on why this type of acting just works for people. But
Yeah, really. Yeah, dissertation or something. Thesis, something.
it's something. But we're in the cycle of the coziness, of the
Mhm.
winter, and then in the summer, it's of the singleness, to be
Yeah.
free, um, yeah, to be free.
Mm.
So when we talk about, um, I guess what I'm trying to get at is, what advice would you give to the single women, as far as so they won't be, because there are women out there who are in this cycle, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I would say, um, something I'm learning, and hopefully this will be helpful for single women out there, is that our bodies, a lot of times, 5% of our mind is conscious,
Okay.
95% of our mind is subconscious. So I just read a book called You Are the Placebo by Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Hmm.
And it's a really profound book. And he talks about how easy it is for our bodies just to go on autopilot and for us to not even use our conscious mind to really think like, what am I doing? And so I think for the women in that cycle of just like, oh, cozy winter, single free summer, like think about it, like, is that really what you want?
Mm.
Is that really what you want you just want to keep going into this cycle? I mean, some women do, and then amen, that's great for you, but I know there's some women that do not, and they're just like, I don't want to be controlled by the seasons. I don't want to be controlled by my body or my hormones or my mind, it like my negative thoughts about feeling lonely or not feeling comfortable in my own skin.
Mm.
And so I would challenge these women to really just be aware first and foremost, to be aware of where you are in your life, like in your body, like who you are, and really think about it and really challenge it too. Like, is this really what I want from my life? Because I think it's almost like the Matrix. We just kind of plug
Yes.
in and then we just kind of just go. And we don't even think to like look out the window, see the sunset, look at the flowers if there are flowers out. Say hello to someone that we wouldn't normally say hello to. Like actually live life and embrace life and enjoy life as opposed to just going through it like the rat race, you
Mm.
know? So yeah, I think it becomes a thing where you have to just, I don't know if it's meditation or journaling or whatever you have to do to get to a place where
Mm.
you no longer feel like you're just going on autopilot, but like just look at yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself, is this where I want to be? Who do I want to be? And why do I want to be this person? What
Yeah.
will I feel like becoming this new person if the old person is not who I want to be?
Yeah.
Like really asking those deep questions. Because ultimately it comes down to just our minds and
Yeah.
what we're capable of. Like through you are the placebo, I've learned so much about how God has created our bodies, and it is so amazing. Like there's so much power that we have not even tapped into, because we're so on autopilot and so busy and
Mm.
so distracted by everything going on in the world that we don't even take the time to really sit with ourselves,
Yeah.
sit with ourselves and learn to love ourselves and like ourselves, and from there learn to appreciate what God has made in us,
Yes.
you know. So sorry, that was a little lengthy, but
I'm here to learn. Teach me, teacher. Teach me.
amen.
I can only imagine. I was think that comment made me think about the question, like, with Jesus in the Sermon on the Mount, you know,
Hmm.
those people probably had chores and things to do, like,
Yeah, they had
th-
their lives,
yeah,
their
yeah,
lives.
yeah, yeah. It's not like today where we can be like, oh, the clothes are in the wash, or, you know, if you're making bread, you put it in a device and it's going to do it for you and you can
No, no,
go
you
on
have
and
to
do
do it
other things.
yourself.
Like
Yeah,
they
right.
literally stopped, in order to
Yeah,
receive something that they never been fed before. So
yeah.
no need to apologize by the lengthiness. I am here to receive what you have to offer. So thinking um, about a question, and before I move on to what may be my final question, is I do want to thank you for being here today. I think this is a very important subject that we are all, not, I shouldn't say all, I'm being dramatic, but a lot of people are going through. I'm thinking about my
Yeah.
friends, I'm thinking about myself. There's this urge and this desire, you know, to get to the end of what feels like a race, to check that box, however people feel
Mm.
that it is. And so, sometimes, we do things that, we sabotage ourselves without knowing, or
Yeah.
because we've seen others do it, or, et cetera, et
Mhm.
cetera. There's so many reasons. So I
Yeah.
do want to thank you for being here and just sharing your wisdom and your knowledge.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. And the question that I have, it almost left my mind. I hate when it does that. Golly.
Mm.
The one thing that I do have, when it comes to relationships, and this is with any and every part. So this is just a broad question. But what is one thing that you see that is a blind spot for a lot of us?
A blind spot for single women. Honestly, and it's something I had to learn myself as a single woman. So, and I'm still learning. It's not easy. I'm very much an ambitious person, and I'm a go getter, and I work hard. And if I want something, I go after it. But like learning how to just be still,
Mm,
just learning to be still and surrendered and wait on God, that's
mm,
hard. That's hard for a lot of us.
yeah.
Um, because we want to take matters into our own hands. We're like, God, I'm tired of waiting for a relationship. I'm tired of waiting for this. I'm tired of waiting for that. And I get it. I We all get that way. It's like the human condition. We just want to keep running ahead.
Yeah.
But I think, and one of the songs that I wrote that's on Spotify is called Wait.
Uh-huh.
It's a song written in the voice of Jesus.
Oh.
And so it's Jesus imploring us to wait on him and to slow
Mm,
down. And so the chorus goes something like, "Oh, you impatient heart, how long will you chase? How long will you run? How long will it take for you to realize you can't be the one?
Mm.
Slow down. You're wearing yourself out, you know? And so the song itself is very slow and meditative. And I, I think sometimes we get so agitated sitting and being still. And honestly, it's pride. It's
Okay.
pride and just not trusting that God will provide, thinking
Mm.
that our ways are better than his ways, you know? And that's a scary place to be.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that God is so amazing and so gentle with us. And he just wants to sit with us and
Mm.
just be with us and breathe with us and experience life with us.
Mm.
You know, like that's the whole point of Jesus's name is Emmanuel, God with us. He wants to
Mm.
be close, so close that you can't even tell the difference between God and yourself because you're so enmeshed together. That's how close he wants to be. And so just learning to be still is so difficult for single women. It's difficult for me, and I'm not even single anymore. I struggle with it in other areas, like with my business or with my health. You know, like there's just so many times where we just want to hurry up and get there, but that's not life. Life is a marathon. It's not a sprint,
Yeah.
and so it's learning to just breathe and sit and
Yes.
just be still. You know. So that definitely was a blind spot for me. And I had to learn the hard way because I dealt with health issues.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have just kept trucking along, you know, and done my
Yeah.
own thing. But I think God allowed me to get sick in order for me to
Mm.
see how important it is to be still and let Him lead, you know, and just wait on Him and trust Him and just cling to Him, you know. So that's what I would leave with single women.
Wow. I'm digesting. Um,
Hmm.
I'm digesting what you just said. Thank you for that. I think that
Yeah.
is definitely a blind spot. Um, Something that I myself um, do need to work on. Um,
Mhm.
and some of it, I shouldn't blame that on myself because we're in a world that moves fast, you know,
Absolutely.
like
Absolutely.
things like email fast, text fast, you
Oh,
know,
goodness.
get a
Fast food
package.
fast. Probably not as fast as we would like, but still fast food. Oh,
Yes,
goodness.
valid. Oh, yes, all the things. It's so funny because I may
Mhm.
be having some pizza tonight. Which fast, like everything is fast, you know? And so
Mhm.
it just we're in a world today that has created a pace that wasn't made for us. It
Yeah,
wasn't intended for us.
right. Right. I
And
100% agree with
so, yeah, sitting still is it's a necessity, but it's almost it feels like it's a skill, you know, and it shouldn't be a skill. Like
that.
it's just
Yeah.
part of
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. There's a really good book I would encourage Christians to read. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by
it.
John Mark Comer. And he talks about just how we are so busy, just busy, 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 and and so busy to the point where we lose sight of God's voice, we lose sight of one another, we lose sight of ourselves. Like
Mm.
we just get so stuck in the, like I was saying earlier, the rat race of busyness that we don't even take time to really think like, is this even what I want? Like, is it like we can't even unplug? It's like it's like you got to take the red pill, and just get out of there.
Yeah.
You just got
Yeah.
to unplug and just really get to a place where you start to notice things again, where
Yes.
things become apparent again. Like you're just not just just going through life like you're racing to death. you know
Yes.
you know
Yes.
so
Well said. Yeah. I'm going to be digesting what you just said for a while. Um,
amen.
on to end on a positive note, I mean, the holidays are here at
Hmm.
this time of year. Um, what what good thing that can we leave our single ladies with as we enter in the season of coziness?
Yeah, something cozy. um let's see, something cozy. um God sees you
Ooh,
even when you feel invisible. God sees you. God loves you. God is cozying up right next to you. He loves you so much, more than any man, woman, child, anybody could ever love you. And he's literally like this close. Like if I could make my fingers even closer, I
yeah.
would, just to demonstrate how close he is to you, my sister, my dear sisters. Um, don't feel like you have to fill the void in your heart with a man,
Mm,
because that void is not meant for a human. That's meant for the divine. That's meant for the universal love, the being of love of the universe. That's meant for God to rest there in your heart and fill you and make you like a spring of living water, you know so don't be afraid to tap into that and reach out to God and be honest with God and transparent, but also just grateful for this year and what it's brought and the lessons that you've learned. Um, and then don't be afraid to dream with God either. Dream
wow.
about the year ahead. Dream about the years ahead, like what life could look like with you and God and your sisters and your friends around you and your family. Like just think about all that you have and just have that gratitude in your heart, because once you do, you're able to, well, one, you're able to think clearly and be able to see truthfully how life is, because life has a way of making you feel like things are not enough.
Mm,
It makes you feel like what you do isn't enough, who you are isn't enough, and that's not true. And so tapping into that gratitude with God and just having that oneness with God, it teaches you that you are enough simply because he made you, and that you don't need a relationship. That's the whole point of my relationship coaching, is like you don't really need a relationship to feel whole, to feel safe, to feel
mm,
wanted. Like God provides all that for you and more, you
yes.
know? And so like don't be afraid to tap into God, cuz he's tapped into you and he loves you. He's obsessed with you, you know? And I mean he died for you. Like how much more can love be demonstrated but in that?
Well said. Oh my gosh, well said. Thank you. Where
Yeah,
can
absolutely.
that was beautiful. I'm gonna be digesting that for a long time. Where
Amen.
can our sisters find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram at Peyton Naomi Leonard. You can find me on my website, peytonnaomileonard.com, if it's acting up, acting the way it's supposed to. Forgive me for that. Don't know what Bandzoogle is doing, but we'll figure it out. It's gonna be okay. But yeah, so Instagram, my website, and then I have a relationship course called Whole Without Him.
Mm,
5 days to heal your heart and fall in love with your life again. And so if you even just Google Whole Without Him, excuse me, or just Google my name, Peyton Naomi Leonard, you can easily find all my stuff everywhere. So,
beautiful. Thank you, Peyton. I am blessed today. Um, you have given us beautiful words of wisdom that's going to help somebody out there. So thank you for that. I'm honored
amen.
and blessed. Well, on that note, everybody, I am going to be digesting this word. I am full today, but I do want to thank you for watching. And remember, God is love, and God wants us to show his love to the world. Until next time, later.